Yep,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Go ahead and feel yourself floating in that space. Start to see those bubbles with that information, those different lives and perspectives and events coming into your awareness. You might start to notice that you're out there amongst these bubbles, floating in between that information. And start to notice your form. You might look like you do now, or you might look completely different, but start to take inventory as you're floating out there in these bubbles. What do you look like? What's your form like?
Hmm. So it's an energy body that can change form at will, which is what most uh, emanations of like a primal light and sound field can do. Um, so when you first asked, I was kind of like smoke or maybe mist. And then when as I continued to focus in, I transformed into the tiger. So an energy body of the tiger that I would say is one of my power animals, or animal, an archetypal animal that I work with, or animal energy that I work with. Let's see. And tiger, so tiger, actually, I'm hearing it's relevant to mention that when I was trained by the Akasha itself and by an energy being who goes by Charlie, who works extensively with time, who taught me a lot about time and timelines. Um, and he is an aspect of elevated, expanded Saturn, and too much of the Saturn stuff gets a really, really like malevolent, negative, bad rap. But I've met like a masculine archetype that um in a collaborative way with other beings. So anyway, that aside, when I was first learning how to deal with the tangling of the luminous, like Akashic fibers,
Mm-hmm.
so the Akasha is these. There's bubbles, but there's also fibers of energy that we weave consciousness with, and sometimes they can be tangled. And when I was learning how we untangle, and this is relevant for because everything comes down into matter and form in the human body as well, as within, so without, as above, so below. And so when we find something amiss in the body, it can represent there being something amiss with the literal Akashic fibers, or the primal materia that we render consciousness and beingness with. Like I have a client who was told that they have MS, and that may be an accurate physical diagnosis, but what I found was tangles of nerves that are representing tangled akasha, that we had to undo quite a bit. So when I was being trained, I would sometimes shift into the form of the tigress or some of this training, because her precision claws in the energy body would be very good and delicate at helping to untangle some of these things,
Hmm.
while yet the bubbles of information and the tapestry web of all things is also all relevant representations of the Akash.
Tell me more about that form. What else makes you particularly good at working with Akasha in that form?
That form. Um, there's something about being able. I mean, I guess I could do this in any form if I'm just being an emanation of the light sound field. But the like can miniaturize. You can miniaturize the tiger's body, and so I have a time or two when I was learning in particular how to do this, could make myself as that energy teeny, 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 and go places within somebody's energetic field or body, energy body, to assist. There's also something, I know it may sound funny to the listeners, but the perception, the different eyesight, the different smell, because I can already hear someone being like, well, if it's just an energy body, there is none of those things. Well, somehow there still is. And the way that the tigress sees with those eyes is even, it's a different way of perceiving than I perceive with my inner vision and with kind of even some aspects of the higher self. So just some interesting differences.
What does that different way of seeing allow you to do?
I think, like with all things, we're looking for nuance and multiple perspectives. And I think that sometimes when I was being guided to like shift form from just my own energy body or like from this ray of this light sound field, um, it would like I needed to see different perspectives, like get a well-rounded view or a holistic view of whatever it was that I was being guided to look at or help somebody with. And this form was able to provide other details and information, fill in puzzle pieces maybe, that another form maybe wouldn't see in the same way. It's almost like the way if we both see a car accident and a police officer interviews both you and I, but I was on one side of the street and you were on that one, we're going to have a slightly different angle or perspective to share and offer. That's kind of the feeling that they're wanting me to bring forth. Oh, and I'm supposed to mention that Charlie, who I know is this kind of like, he's like an older man. He functions in the work of time, in the rendering of time, because time is a substance that we're co-creating and co-rendering together in this construct. And anyway, the form that he transforms, so again, light and sound bodies, like an energy body that is made of light and sound, and he transforms into a crab and will work similarly with untangling things with like the crab pinchers or claws. So is it crab? Yeah, they have like
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
have like yep.
And if you know, can you tell how you would identify these timelines that need to be worked on, or how would you tell what needs to
Yeah.
be?
Yeah, so it's kind of like when I'm working with somebody in like a depth kind of energy repair and clearing type session in the quantum, I'm going to be looking in the quantum and Akashic fields, which do, blend together, or they have intersecting blending points. So I'm going to be looking in those fields of awareness and existence, but also I'm looking at and in all of the bodies, energy bodies, even the not bodies, the other aspects of form that are part of their experience that are relevant. So when I look at time spirals in the quantum, and I do usually see them as vortexes or spirals, and in fact I'll even say like we can of course we timeline jump or timeline shift. Like I literally see us surfing. It's like we're surfing or almost like rollerblading or swimming through the spiral of time. What happens is when I'm looking at time spirals as a representation of the primary substance of the Akasha in the quantum or the Akashic fields. Frequently, so let's just say I'm looking at the personal individual current timeline spiral or vortex that somebody is living and experiencing, and it is theirs. And it's also part of a greater, shall we say, general or collective timeline, but it's their personal timeline. And what I will see frequently that may need to be addressed is either big gaps where time or memory or love or energy has been stolen. Sometimes I'll find, like, here we're looking at the spiral and there should be energy here that connects, and it's been stolen. So that's one representation that I'll see. Sometimes we'll have multiple timeline spirals that do belong or identify as this person's energy, that are tangling. So we all are shifting and moving in and out of dimensional realities or timelines that are close to one another frequently. I do believe this, my own kind of quantum shifting or quantum jump that I experienced when I was about 20 years old, I feel, for me personally, proves this as part of my reality. It doesn't have to be part of anybody else's, but it proves mine. But so sometimes I will find timelines tangled together that shouldn't be. Yeah. And there will have to be like a disentangling. And I find this frequently when people are having a various it could be a various set of issues, where something that's happening in another aspect of their soul's experience is really distressing them now, or is just simply bleeding through into this now, and it should be kind of another timeline or another, like a quantum journey that somebody could go and experience. We do have some convergence that happens where these timelines might be trying to converge and come together. But frequently, if there's tangling occurring that I'm seeing in the quantum and Akashic fields, that means there's repair work to do. This all comes down into the body, and in the body, I will frequently find it as blockages, tangled nerves, tangled hair, tangled cilia. I don't even know all of the names. Tangles, knots and tangles of fascia, muscle, even soft tissue, or like what we would think of as muscle tension and muscle knots can be indicative of this as well. Like with the client I mentioned, doing work at the kind of base of the spine from an energetic perspective as a body and medical intuitive. I don't love using the word medical, but I think people understand what it is I'm visioning. I was disentangling like nerves and different fibers that were representing the Akasha and time itself for this person, in a way that had become distorted in the energetic realms, and that worked its way down into physical matter. We don't have one without the other. Spirit and matter, we are both. And so what happens in one affects the other, and vice versa.
I'm noticing that there's a guide there that's showing up to help you or provide another perspective. Who's showing up?
It feels like a plant spirit, but it's not the rendering. It's not the version of like the spirit of cannabis that I've met and usually connect with. So I was just kind of feeling into
what's different about them.
It does feel this person does feel, or the spirit feels, a little bit more feminine, but yeah, like skewing towards feminine energy or natural earth energy, but a little bit more androgynous. I actually think that this is the spirit of what we call kratom,
Oh,
which has helped me a lot with my pain conditions.
okay.
The physical condition that I had that was the catalyst for me coming into energy work. And kratom, for anyone who doesn't know, is a tree, or comes from a tree. It's the powdered leaf of a tree that is in that grows in Indonesia. Um, really interesting. So feels more um, like, if I had, this is funny, if I had to just like boldly say this is like a woman, but like Butch Dyke,
Yeah.
and totally fully happy to be that,
Yeah.
is that's the energy that I feel. Like buzzed hair, doesn't really care much about clothes or like how like they're, not fancy, very authentic in the energy. That's what I feel. That's the
Yeah.
guide that's here. We're not having like I can get to the angels and all of this stuff too, but we're having a very grounded experience with an earth energy.
About
Interesting.
how old do they appear? Older, younger, middle age?
40s, early 50s is how she like, and as
Yeah.
we talk, like she will morph into this massive tree too. There's a lot to be, oh, that's interesting. She's saying there's a lot to be explored about, human sexuality and kind of the spectrum. And I think you and I touched on that just in our conversation before the actual session. Like, it was something that I've been exploring, and the ecology of the earth. I'm hearing ecosystem, earth ecology. It's never just, oh yeah. So like they're bringing up, in her coming to us in this way, bringing up the issues of the illusory duality, that we always think there's
Hmm.
two, or that there's a firm yes, no, black, white, night, day, that frequently tries to erase or muffle the reality that, like, yes, we have night, and we have day, or we have dawn, and we have or dusk, or sunset and sunrise, but there's all these other moments in between. And then of course that hermetic principle that I like, she just showed me the hermetic principle about like and unlike are the same. What is it?
Yeah.
Opposite in degree, whatever it is, but it's extremes meet. And
Right.
when the first time I read the principle of polarity in the Kabbalion, I believe is where I read it, it's like I saw the line with the 2 points, yes, no, good, bad. But then when you turn that line into a circle, those two extremes that are so opposite actually meet. The extremes meet. And so there's kind of a theme coming up from sort of a grounded, but when I say grounded, I mean that Earth is part of the quantum reality, and the Akashic field. But like sort of a grounding. This is here. This is now. We are looking at what is in front of us, and acknowledging what is here now. Like she's shaking her head, yeah, or like nodding her head, yes. Like as a collective, as a humanity, right now, we must look at what, like, acknowledge what we are seeing or feeling and being and doing in our lived experience in this moment in order to change it. So there has to be a moment of acknowledgement. um there's something just, it's moving very quickly now, so I'm sort of in multiple places, like standing with her in this grow, like where all these trees grow. And I'm also in the Akashic field, and I'm looking at quantum timelines, spirals. So it's moving quickly, but a big theme coming up, especially given what we were talking about, all systems, numerology, all of these systems that you were sharing earlier are saying, with this 9 year that we are in, this is a hard year. People are experiencing difficulty as a potential catalyst for transformation. And there's a lot of energy right now that's flowing, that's getting stuck. There's resistance. I'm being shown kind of like water trying to flow, or energy trying to flow, and a big, massive boulder stopping it, and it having to work to go under, go over, go around. And that's sort of where we're at as a humanity right now. And they're wanting me to share that we are still co-creating and co-rendering our own realities, and that of Earth, the lived experience on Earth right now. And there are some teachings. I'm just hearing the word misunderstandings about the phrases misunderstandings about manifestation.
Mm.
That sometimes there are systems of practice, again, maybe not ones I'm super familiar with, who or which are skipping the first step of acknowledging what is, and in order to bring about desired change. And that this can be a crucial problem for us right now. We can't stick our heads in the sand or just dissociate up out of the body and say we're just gonna go live in 7D. Like we're gonna like kind of keep vital life force running and acting out the program for having a human experience while most of our consciousness goes somewhere else where things feel a little bit easier. That's what I'm seeing a lot of people are doing, and that can be a valid response to an overstimulated nervous system, and just sort of what we've been bombarded with the last 5 years or 6 years or 20 years, or for a lifetime. But
What's the more mature response?
the more mature response is radical of first accepting and acknowledging what is, and then radical responsibility, accountability, grace, and love for the self and others. So that's been a theme that's coming up. While we can understand that somebody might want to dissociate and stay gone, and dissociation can be a valid, understandable response to certain experiences, everybody is being asked to stay here and be here now and participate in whatever it is we as a group and you or me as an individual came to do. And some of it is actually disentangling, working to untangle some of the mess that we ourselves have been either the active participants or complicit in the creation of, like tangled up timelines and Akashic fibers and quantum field stuff.
Being told there's like a phrase or a attunement, something that can be offered to the collective to help with this. What's coming through?
Intuitive sound transmission is coming through, that each person needs to open themselves to allowing whatever vibrational tones and resonance, whether that's singing, humming, or chanting. I do a lot of clicking or rolling my tongue. Everyone needs to take a moment who watches this or hears this and feels guided to do so, to allow whatever sound deep from the belly and pelvis needs to come up and out. And then let me see if there's a phrase. Intuitive sound transmission from the self in connecting with cosmic and angelic realms. And then, gosh, this sounds so cliche, and I didn't want to say it because they gave it to me initially, and it's associated with a different spiritual teacher. But the phrase is "be here now."
Nice.
And so many people probably do know that came, that was something that another well-known, guru type teacher offers. But I don't know very much about that person's work. I don't want to get copyright struck because I think it's the title of a book. But the phrase is be here now. And now I'm here with like the spirit of the tree or of kratom, and also with an archetypal aspect of the mother, and she is here as a dragon and wants me to say that be here now is not just a suggestion, it is a request. It is a request. They're stopping just short of saying it's a command, but when we get right down to it, right now in this moment is what there is. And we are here in this body. It is being requested that we be here in this body because we ourselves are the ones who decided to come here and be in this body. It's funny, like they're showing me different curly cues, like curled lines, and how it all circles back. It all circles back to this was your decision. So no, you can't decide at this moment that you are going to install a program in the body while you go live another life on, I'm hearing 8D
Disassociation isn't the
answer. Yeah,
for this problem.
Like that option is available, but it's not going to bring about the results that we want. That's funny. I've talked about this before. I think we both have a little bit about this idea that we'll run around in certain corners of like consciousness expansion or trying to figure out the nature of reality. And I'm just being asked to state again that we are not on a prison planet. Earth is a lot of things and complex, and potentially, depending which timeline you're looking at, which dimension, and from whose perspective, it is possible that we have had quarantines, or maybe aspects of us are in some kind of a quarantine or ending a quarantine right now, but we are not in a trap. We are not in a prison. And I have yet to find, though I do believe, souls could get stuck or people could get earthbound or not cross over, because Julie and I have helped beings like that. But I have not yet worked with somebody as a practitioner or even just as an intuitive, ever encountered anyone who did not choose to incarnate. I have not talked with anybody in an energy work session or an Akashic session in which I have not been able to find their book of life or scroll. And by scroll, I mean literally, usually it can be a scroll, but it will look like a piece of paper, notebook paper, that you, before you came here, wrote down or jotted out the certain things that you wanted to have be as like main learning experiences or lessons that you're working on integrating. Or say you and your sister have tried 8 or 12 other times to get this lesson right or balance out this karma, and that's going to be a main thing for this life. Like I have yet to find someone who I cannot assist in accessing that information. And if somebody was just trapped here and we're just food for, the vampires and slaves harvesting gold for the maker or the false makers or whatever, like we wouldn't be finding all of these. So this idea that we're trapped, or that you did not come here by choice, or that you tried to leave and got put through the soul trap, is another way that a program called I Am a Victim and I Am Being Victimized Every Which Way I Turn exhibits and plays out. And it's a very subtle way that a lot of individuals seek to avoid what we're being asked to do, which is be here now and do the inner work of self. The inner alchemy, Jung called it, making the unconscious conscious, conjunctio, the conjunction of bringing unconscious and conscious together, and that is the inner alchemy. I sometimes use different language to describe it, and there's still all this information flowing, and I'm doing my very best to access the spot on the time spiral, or the Akashic fibers, and scrolls, and information and wisdom, and even the program, the beautiful digital version of this information as well, is very much part of the Akashic records also. So I'm just bringing forward what they want me to say as best I can. But
And on
this,
that similar note, we were talking before the session about how to make this language accessible to the common person. And do they have any suggestions about this as we're talking about these very nuanced subject
topics,
matters? Yeah. How would you break that down for the layperson?
for the layperson.
Yeah. If it can be, I'm not sure
Yeah,
there's an
so
answer.
for the layperson, I am being shown that frequently the areas of like literature, poetry, the arts, even entertainment, like I'm not a spiritual person who never watches movies or engages with TV. I know there's a group of spirituality. I tried to do that in 2020, and life was less bright and vibrant for me. And I find that engaging myself with fiction, with nonfiction, with these, with a movie that is making a point and telling a
Ah,
story,
yeah.
to be very, very effective ways for a lot of these deeper topics to be introduced to people who either do not have interest in, or the inclination to come all the way into like consciousness exploration. The other one that they're mentioning is self-development and psychology.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of people who are very emotionally and energetically attuned to what it is that we do. And I'm seeing this. I'm even seeing just like a vision of millions of people like dropped in as part of the kind of Akashic field right now, or like the background, who are interested in feeling better, showing up for one another, partnering with the earth. Many people want to connect with some understanding of the divine or of God, have been harmed by religion, and are very cautious about anything that feels like spirituality because of this. But frequently self-development, in ways that are authentic, not self-development like how do I find the trophy wife and get the fast car. That, not that kind of self-development, like the inner work, no matter what the path is that brings somebody to inner work. The path is always, and the language always needs to be about doing the beautiful and often difficult work of the self, of the journey of soul and of spirit, of self. They're mentioning, this is interesting, just as a mom, I have had some really interesting experiences with my children understanding some of these pretty like words. Like one of my kids asked me if we could talk about egregores, and they had heard that from, I think, a video game or read it in a manga. And
What word
really
was it?
wanting egregore.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
yeah. One of the kids was like, "Hey, can we talk about egregores?" and knew what it was, like from some aspect of entertainment or that they had engaged with, and that feels like the Akash and kind of the beings that we've been, the energy streams we're in connection with. Want to point out, like just using that as an example
Yeah.
of how something that others are perceiving as entertainment, or oh, look, the kids are spending too much time on video games. Well, yeah, that might be true, but they're also learning about things from a lot of this content. or what we're calling content that's actually art. So there's a whole other conversation they're saying that we could have sometime about what we're calling content, and feeling like we're supposed to produce content
Mhm.
is still art, as long as we are coming at it from a place of authentic creation. So languaging this so a layperson or a common person can understand, really does feel like, one, they have to have some measure and amount of openness to decide to engage with this, even if we're coming at it from a purely psychological or inner self
Mm.
perspective. There
Mhm.
does have to be some openness, or they will just choose not to understand. I'm hearing kind of like some of the pop psychology words, like, I'm very careful with narcissist, but I'm seeing some of those words that have been brought into the collective thought field, and like the consciousness where everybody has heard this word, they think they understand what it means. As just something to be aware of, that even though I have found it distasteful to see how sometimes we label one another, perhaps unfairly, perhaps fairly, but it's still a painful
Yeah.
designation to place on someone. I'm being shown a different perspective here, where with the rise of social media and the information that's available, people who are interested can come into these depth esoteric spiritual topics through a number of other access points that might start with reading a self-development book, or following, this is an interesting one that I don't love myself, but I'm seeing that currently all of this, they're saying all of the craze about attachment theory and all of these people talking about anxious and avoidant and that kind of stuff. There is quite a few, like the Akasha is showing me, quite a few people who are entering into these topics of quantum exploration of consciousness and of what it means to be a self who's having an experience as self that is also part of the whole, are entering from that doorway, which I find very interesting myself. Apparently, quite a few of those teachers or large social media accounts who might be saying they do sessions about attachment theory are also people who, not all of them, but there are some who have the attunement codes and are able to energetically transmit and activate the people who are ready for this information to initiate and deepen a curiosity in them, in which they might come over into this space. I myself am being told, I knew this, I think, gosh, last week, and I'm still getting used to the phrasing, and I need to do a little bit more searching about how I start using this. But my perspective, and my foundation has actually always been psycho-spiritual, and I didn't realize that particular label
Mhm.
applies to the foundational understanding that I have and hold as a practitioner, and as just an individual woman having a lived earth experience. So psycho-spiritual coaching or psycho-spiritual exploration is another place that people can blend the two, and we can really speak in grounded terms that leave out some of what you and I understand as quantum and akashic and all of these different timelines and dimensions. We can,
Yeah.
that's extra for later, but we can distill it down quite easily, I'm seeing, and that most of us do it intuitively.
Hmm.
when we are speaking to someone, we are able, you and me and many other quantum facilitators that we know are able to meet people where they're at. The question, though, that I think we have is how do we bring this into our language online to
Hmm.
reach a broader audience? And they're saying that will come with time, and that both you and I are going to have we're receiving an activation today. It's interesting. It looks kind of pink. And over the next 3 weeks or so, we will have little sparks of insight about writing in a certain way or speaking in a certain way. Um,
I'm seeing like
I
an
guess I'll
ohm
just
symbol.
an ohm.
Yeah, like an ohm, like that shape almost, like an E.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
that
like a
feels right.
treble, like a clef symbol or an E or a
Yes,
it's
yeah, that's kind of how I was seeing this pink energy come down. It was
yeah,
interesting.
like a like light language looks.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Well, thank you guys. Thank you. I'll take it.
very
I'm
interesting.
wondering this theme of victimhood, and as we're looking at the Akasha and we have these helpers, is there anything that you're being shown that translates to relieving that idea of victimhood, either personally or collectively or both?
Collectively.
Anything that Sarah's seeing in her own lifetime that she can.
Yeah, so personally, as Sarah, I spent so many years not realizing that I was experiencing in different aspects of my reality victimization because I actually never identified with being a victim. And it took me many years to realize that aspects of my experience were indeed victimizing, even though I didn't hold the label of victim. And so in the last several years, I've gone through a very rapid understanding and like acceptance, phases of acceptance and phases of resistance. And ultimately the thought form of I'm not a victim, but but I am. Oh crap, it turns out I am. I'm seeing both are already being I'll just say removed, exercised, digested. So much of what we call clearing is actually transmutation, like metabolizing something, digesting something into a transformed, alchemized new thing altogether. So for me, it personally has to do a lot with energetic transcendence. So transcending while still being very present in this reality, but transcending the whole victimizer. They're showing me that drama triangle. Oh, that's interesting.
Mm, mm.
The drama triangle where somebody's
Yeah,
the victim, the perpetrator, and then the rescuer.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's just a dynamic that plays out in all households or work connections. And to just simply choose that I continue to choose each time I am not participating in this drama triangle. And that for me, and continuing when appropriate to gray rock, practice the brief, informative, friendly, firm method, in personal, professional, any kind of a connection in which those things are appropriate, and to not feed it energy. It's like they're saying both of us, we have things we're mad about. The anger is valid, like we talked about
Yeah.
earlier, but it's still not worth spending the energy on it. Even if the feeling is valid and fair and reasonable, how about just move on, work on moving on and allowing that feeling to metabolize and transform, and using that energy that we were being mad with to create something new. Um, collectively, collectively, there is a big victimizer program going on that is part of the illusory duality that was mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
That so many incarnate want or expect, that we are playing cops and robbers, or big nuclear power bullying whatever little guy, like all of these oh gosh, they're wanting to call this very boldly the war games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The victimizer program is being designated war games um, by the fullness of
Mm-hmm.
the Akasha.
So it's
Um,
entertainment.
yes, and
Entertainment.
so yes, and so we come and we fully immerse in this. Is where, even if I don't fully ascribe to this myself, I understand all perspectives, and there are so many people. There are people here who believe we are in a simulation. They're flashing Westworld. I told you I was rewatching a little bit of
Yeah.
Westworld, where they're in, for all intents and purposes, a Western war game. They're shooting up other cowboys, whatever. And it's okay to shoot up other people because they don't die. Those people get put back together because they're biobots. They're organic and they have a technology that can be regenerated. And I'm just shocked at what they're showing me, even if it is a deeply unconscious belief program and pattern. There are many millions of people right now who do believe that we're just having a game. We're in a war game. And even if it is just a game,
Yeah.
I'm seeing like the callousness. They're showing me that there is a callousness, like we see the real humans who come into Westworld in that TV show. They have a callousness. It's okay to shoot you. It's okay to rape you, because you're not real. And we have a war game program that is actually proliferative right now, that is reflecting outwardly as part of the collective shadow from a lack of inner work and a muddy, unrefined, dirty heart space of the collective of humanity, which we've spoken about before. So it's like, I don't believe I'm real. So, just as an
Mm.
example, these people who
Yeah.
are buying into this, I don't believe I'm real enough to do the inner work of the heart.
Yeah.
And so and this isn't real anyway, and fine, this lifetime I'll shoot you, last lifetime you hanged me. Like I'm seeing this, what is the word, this apathy,
Mm.
a collective apathy that is being hidden, with this outward outrage that we're fed online and on TV, whatever, on news constantly. This Oh wow, this is really interesting. The war games and victimizer programming can also be ancestral, but it is mostly coming from a complete exhaustion, but also an apathy and a lack of self care, a lack of like caring and feeling that the self is worthy of doing the inner work. It keeps going back to the inner work rippling outwardly. And if we don't do the inner work to then ripple outwardly in positive, beneficial, benevolent ways, even if it is a game and even if it is a simulation, and this is all, I know that this is a holographic reality that feels very physical. I've known this for years. Um,
Well, why would you make that up? Dolores might say.
I just have always, somehow, the first time I heard that we're actually in a hologram, I just knew it was true. The phrase I get is holographic physicality,
Yeah.
because we wanted to experience it. That's why.
That's why, yeah.
The
Yeah.
reason we're
Why
in a
not?
holographic physicality is because we wanted to experience being physical in a way that, like, the energy body that I was
Mhm.
in earlier, where I was kind of coming down from the primal light and sound field into sort of this, mist, and then morphing into tiger or whatever, and then more into myself. That is a different feel. And we, as fractals of the divine or of God or of source, whatever label we're going to give the creating impulse wanted something different. So this is what we wanted. But yes, so this program of war games and victimizer is coming from a lack of choosing the inner work of self as part of the path of the phrasing I'm hearing is enlightenment and illumination, and not that there's anything wrong with darkness, because I've spoken at length about being more aligned with the nourishing soil, the dark aspects of the feminine creation impulse myself. But as a whole, we are here to have an experience in which we eventually, it's not all about ascension, it's actually about transcending. Can we walk the path that so each next step is lit up just enough to know we're taking the right steps? And if we don't do the inner work of the heart, of the kind of coherence, even the pelvis and sacral are very involved with the heart connection. But if we don't do this work, what ripples outward is the divide within the self, where the self is being both victim and victimizer because we're refusing to do the very work we wanted to do, that we came here to do, the experience we chose to have. And so that ripples outwardly, and we have everybody believing they're a victim and a victimizer, and we're playing war games and hurting one another, and people get,
either really
murdered.
invested or apathetic.
Yeah, or apathetic. I'm thinking about what we heard about happening in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like people see these things, and there's an apathy. Yes, that was really interesting how all that came through.
I'm getting the impression that there's a way to help this collectively, and it's almost like I'm seeing something that can be untangled or combed.
Yeah, I feel like together you and I can just set the intention that we offer the there is okay, I'm seeing it. So we're offering the option, the gentle, it is gentle and it is a choice. We're not interfering with other people's free will or pushing it at them, but we're offering a gentle exploration of self and how self interacts with the world, while here in the this is the Akashic field. It's the general Akashic record of the collective incarnate body of humanity right now is what I'm seeing. And there's a massive tangled ball of Akashic fibers, of timelines, all of this stuff.
And for some reason, to me, it looks like a planet like Pluto or Mars, like a
rocky
planet.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Asteroid or a.
Yes. And I think that what we can do is we can both kind of go in there. And I think we're just supposed to go into the middle of it. We don't actually have to start like with tweezers or claws doing this.
Yeah, I saw a comb, like just.
Yeah, I think we go and comb it, and I'm gonna go into the middle of it, and oh wow, they want me to put a lit candle in the middle of it, and then we're gonna comb it.
Makes sense.
On the outside.
Because I was gonna say there's something we're supposed to put in there. I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Yeah, I think a candle in the middle of the thing, and there is like a hollow spot, so I'm just like.
And I keep the energy. Something about Lilith wants to help, or is representative of this in particular, like that sense of empowerment. She's not a victim. She stands in her
never
power.
Been a victim.
She's never been a victim.
And that's why they all demonize her.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Because she's
that's right.
Not a victim. So they tried to assign her role of demon then, and she's like, whatever, call me whatever you want. I'm still living my life. Okay, so I've placed the candle. I do feel her presence. She kind of feels feline. And serpentine. That's another fun thing that's come in lately, is that there is quite a bit of overlap and actual energy that is shared between
Yeah,
feline
yeah, the
serpentine.
dragon energy
Yeah,
seems to be that
and
in
cat is very
between.
similar.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we're just supposed to kind of like run the comb on and around the outside of
Oh,
this, and
yeah, I
then
think we might have the one thing.
that will be like the
This, for some reason, this was in reach, but this is what I'm, you probably can't see it.
yes, yeah, because I wasn't seeing like a
Yeah, it's
plastic
copper.
comb
I kept saying copper, a copper comb, and this just happens to be right here.
there. Yeah,
So,
so that's the energy we'll use,
yeah.
and I did the candle part. Guidance is kind of saying that you're supposed to be the one to do the outside, and we're offering this as a massive, I'm hearing, collective liberation for those who are ready to choose it
Ready. Yeah.
from the duality within, of the war within of victim and victimizer, because we are all, if there's a victim, if you're a victim, you're also the victimizer inside. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something about, if you are chained, those chains are yours to cut off, to break the chain, no matter who you perceive put them on you. And yes, there are systems of oppression. Yes, there are other individuals in our lives who come in opposition to us. But the chain, if it's on your ankle or your heart or whatever, is still, you still have to be the one to break it. So, or transmute it. Of course, we can help cut those off with a quantum laser and do all of that. But the changes that are required to keep that chain off have to be from that individual's inner work and the transformation of that inner alchemy. So, okay.
Okay.
How does that
Yeah, I'm seeing like a sigil, like a gold sigil, or I don't know, there's some triangles, there's lights and stuff that it's like almost
yeah,
just a patch or an offering, or it's almost like
I,
the people that want to listen or want to accept this, they can just take that and overlay it onto their.
yes, yes, I see it. Perfect.
How does that
Yeah, that feels
reflect
really
in
good.
what we call everyday behavior? How does that translate to the 3D world?
So it will vary a little bit, person to person. I'm seeing that very likely we'll have several hundred people, whether they view this video or not. All of this is happening energetically and in real time. Several hundred people. Um, oh, I'm seeing the constellation or the connection of it. Who will, within the next 72 hours, begin taking either rapid or soft, tentative, slow, and gentle steps toward some process of inner work, whether that's, therapy, energy work, quantum healing, um, getting involved with some kind of a coach who maybe doesn't speak the exact language we do, but is bringing forth similar concepts. I'm seeing, like, they're saying between 600 and 800 people will be very quickly interested in receiving the offering of this. But translating into the 3D for others, there is going to be, I'm just seeing like a ripple out. There will be a ripple out where the initial 600 to 800 that are most attuned to receive what the Akasha has offered through you and me today will then transmit that as an offering to all these other people. So it winds up being a constellation where over the next several months, we're talking, many thousands of people that are offered this. Whether or not they all accept is their choice, but we will, you and I are both going to have some confirmation of this over the next, I'm hearing 3 to 4 months. We will hear like either personal relationships or maybe close connections or new connections we make online. you will have confirmation that the work we did today has been positively or like a good benefit to somebody, to two to four somebody's.
Nice.
That's interesting.
I'm curious. We were talking about how to connect with clients or people that don't seem so grabby.
Oh yeah.
How does that relate to what we've been talking about, and what information wants to come through about how to connect with those people that are in the right headspace and the
In
right,
the right headspace.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Frequently, I'm seeing that clients who behave, or prospective clients that behave in a more grabby way, are parentifying us. So many
Mm.
times, no matter the gender, if people are being grabby, there is some aspect of mother issue that they need to deal with. So that is, and yeah, I'm seeing like, a recent person that I saw who is very demanding, has a lot of expectation and entitlement. So the Akasha is saying that our goal is to work with our expanded wisdom, whether that's higher self, angelic connections, the Akash as a consciousness itself, spending time in the quantum field while in nature. And we want to tailor and ask for assistance in tailoring our messaging and energy fields to those who respect what we do. That's interesting. Women who are grabby with us, I've spoken about this before, are also typically exercising and living out the sisterhood program, the false sister program, which they essentially will try to hook and cord whether they use the word sister or not. The program is, because I am a woman too, you owe me, and we are automatically friends or sisters, and you should share everything you have and know and all of your time and energy with me because I am also a woman. And that is a program that I've had many women fling at me. Not so much anymore. So I was surprised when it popped up again. Oh, and they're checking me on that. They're checking me and said, you had a concern that you did not heed from the very beginning when this person messaged for a promo session. There was a little hint, and I ignored. They're saying, see, you ignored your intuition, and we keep telling you, you do not have to have a logical reason for
Mm.
saying, hey, I don't feel like I'm the practitioner for you, and you should have done that. So even though I received this energy and it wasn't a great experience, even though the person had a good session, it was still on me because I ignored my higher knowing because I didn't have a logical reason to say no.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So, one, we don't need a logical reason to say no. And two, we both need to say no a lot more, even when we could use a little bit of money.
The
Or
perceived
even,
resources that were the
yes,
perceived
yeah,
benefit. Gotcha.
yes. And so we will be continue to tailor our messaging and start creating or magnetizing more of the really, really ideal clients, no matter what pay range or pay band they can be in.
Yeah.
The ideal clients who have a reciprocal respect for what we do, and they benefit from our facilitation, and we benefit from connecting with them, by saying no to the clients and that
Yeah,
we
that
don't
is
know what the,
respect, isn't it?
yes,
Isn't it?
yeah,
I think
yeah.
one of the questions that I have is there's been several times I've gotten that no message, and then the client turns out to be absolutely wonderful. And it's been a misjudgment on my own part.
Yes,
Do
see, that's
do
what
your guides have any advice for that? How do we
yeah,
temper
because that's what I
being
always
wrong?
expect. This is me being
Me being a
paranoid or me
bitch. Yeah,
being
me being too
exclusive, being
choosy or
bitchy.
right.
Yeah.
How do we know when's the difference?
Okay. So drop deeply when we're feeling that initial no. The suggestion is to drop deeply into like the sacral and ground outside if possible. If it's too cold or we can't
Yeah.
be outside,
Yeah.
to envision from in the house or whatever, feet on the floor, growing grounding cords through the house, the foundation into the earth, and asking the earth to send,
Yeah.
ground with us. And drop deeply in and go into a little bit of a meditative state is what they're saying. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be anything long, just 5 minutes, and ask for divine assistance in delineating, am I being a bitch because there's something personally that I'm experiencing? It may not even be about this person. It might be like, I'm feeling prickly because I did too many sessions last week and I don't want to, it could be something like that. Or is there a legitimate reason? And in taking, they're saying 5 minutes max is all this needs,
Yeah.
where we drop deeply into the pelvis or the sacral, do some grounding, and as we're earth grounding, we can call in kind of the cosmic energy, the cosmic grounding as well, and ask for guidance. Please connect me to my higher expanded wisdom. Show me or help me understand if my gut instinct to say no is accurate, or if that's part of my humanity and a distortion in me that I'm experiencing today. And by distortion, I don't mean like anything super wrong. It's
That's great.
just that we're in a funk,
Yeah,
or
the
that we're
ego
tired.
versus spirit
Yeah, that
or
we're
the
working. Yeah, the distorted ego jumped in for a minute. So that's the suggestion, because I've had clients like that too, where I wanted to
oh
say
yeah.
no and I said yes, and we wound up being a good fit and it went well. And then I've had situations where, like this person that I mentioned, had a very good session, but the before and after grabbiness and asking for more and trying to get free sessions, and kind of overall being a extractive, was unpleasant for me. And really, like, this was somebody that was not taking my silence as the answer. Like, you don't get a free session. Like, I'm being shown this person was going to keep hammering at my email inbox and my DMs, so I had to deal with it.
Yeah.
But that's the lesson, I guess, is we drop deeply in. 3 to 5 minutes is the max we would need for
That's a
each
great.
person. Can also do some muscle testing on that, I'm hearing. If we really need a fast answer and we're not clarified enough to get it, can message the other one to pendulum, or do some other kind of divination, body divination or something.
Something tells me that that technique can be used for a lot of other people for a lot of different reasons. So
Yes.
thank you so much for that. Something tells me that that's the answer. You'll just be able to do
Yes.
a little bit,
And
drop a
with
little.
with muscle testing, when we feel very intense about something, it's better to have somebody else do it, or we will override the body's answer with the mind,
Yeah, yeah.
the mind's desire.
Sometimes I'll
So,
do a
but it's,
tarot card pull or something
yeah,
like that just
card
for,
pull,
yeah,
pendulum,
yeah,
whatever it
something
is.
that's just
Yep.
to give me something to reflect on.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
the suggestion.
I'm
Wow,
curious,
this was interesting.
why is Kratom showing up? How are they involved in these different timelines?
Well, I kind of went into the session thinking that maybe I would talk to Lady Cannabis. So I had a sense that there would be a plant spirit present. Oh yeah, they're saying because it's one of, I don't even want to call it a vice, but it is something that has been a daily herb, that I have taken personally for several years now, that has been completely part of my beneficial transformation for me. And I have felt like at times it's something I should cut back on or drop.
Mm.
I have been made to feel by certain others that I'm using it to numb or to cope, when really that's maybe it is to cope a little bit, but it's legitimate. It's a legitimate, I'm hearing that this is a legitimate use, and that I needed to connect with this embodiment aspect, this energy aspect of the plant, and actually have it tell me herself that I am not out of alignment. And there are also, like, everyone who's present is kind of laughing and saying, look at how much more you are than you were when you were living in chronic intense pain 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, when you found it and started to take it, and how kratom and aloe vera were the two that got me stable enough that I could begin choosing to heal myself and find what I needed from an inner work psychospiritual perspective to become more of me. And that part of my story I'll be quiet about, publicly sometimes, even though I'm a public advocate of kratom. But that it not it didn't need the acknowledgement. I needed to acknowledge that it is in alignment for me to be in daily relationship and use of the plant, and it's not hurting me. And my health, they're laughing, my health is better now than it was 25 years ago. Like, I'm more radiant, more luscious, more vibrant. I'm not having, like, feel way better than I did then, way better than I did 7 or 8 years ago. So kratom fits in simply because, like all plant spirits, it is part of the greater whole and carries significant wisdom. And as trees, the consciousness of trees is actually very similar, though wiser than the consciousness of people. And I'm actually being very gently, energetically chided a little bit for not acknowledging in quite this way that I am engaging. Not only am I engaging, I am eating or consuming the sacred leaf of a sacred tree, and I'm in communion with this other tree that doesn't happen to grow where I live every day. And the trees here, I talk to the trees here and they tell me their names, and they're sacred witnesses of our human story right now. And so I guess I needed a little bit of a check, a little bit of a reminder. You are in communion with the trees, and this is a tree. This is a leaf from the tree, the sacred tree.
And what will that help you stop doing?
I'm being told there's no need to stop. That's a guilt and shame program that's been projected.
That guilt.
Yeah, that's been projected at me. As long as it's not harming me, and it's not, it helps me as long as it's within right relationship. So plant use is always about, are we in right relationship? Yeah. And she's here to tell me yes, and anyone telling you that you're not is
I was seeing
one who's out of alignment.
When you were talking about it, I was seeing like all your plant helpers kind of around the bed.
Yes, and like I'm hearing the devas, like the deva.
Yeah, and it's like they each had like even the different types of like I said, Sinsemilla and Sativa, and then I was seeing Datura, and I was seeing like all of these.
Datura is beautiful.
And I don't know if it might have been kratom herself, but one of them came up and they handed you a red rose.
Oh, I feel it.
And they're like it's like this, and they're just say it's no more harmful than this.
Yes.
Giving you this rose and accepting the rose, it's within alignment of.
It is. It's within alignment. And of course they're saying there's also like a little bit of low level anxiety on my part that they're wanting to acknowledge about the current, whatever he is, RFK, trying to schedule and make illegal a constituent of kratom because they want a big pharma it. They want to take this and make it be. So they're saying it's worth acknowledging that I am feeling the system trying to the harmful system trying to take away something. Like, or last week I was thinking, we can't have anything nice. We have something that helps, that's readily available, that many people have used to get off fentanyl, heroin, alcohol, that helped
Mhm.
me get off prescription pain medicine that I was legally prescribed for a very painful chronic condition, and they want to take an aspect of it away. And so we can't have anything nice because they want to take it and make money off of it. And so they're saying that's also like they wanted to almost, I'm hearing, minister to me as an individual, but also in kind of like the bigger scope of who I am and what I do and represent too.
Yeah,
And
I'm
just
hearing
acknowledge
that
that
we can't have anything nice.
is also a thought form.
Yeah, and I'm seeing like a bubble, one of those
Yeah,
bubbles that wants to show you something about that thought form,
yes,
that judgment. We
that
can't
thought
have
form.
anything nice.
Yeah. Okay, so the bubble says, we can have nice things and we will produce the good. We are going to continue to create the good things. And I'm hearing that we can't have anything nice in my dad's voice.
Yeah,
So there's a
we
little bit
can't have
of
anything nice.
there's
Yeah.
a little bit of like a loving ancestral, I mean, he's here in the other room right now, but this loving ancestral, like I'm just like this, I'll just say it, a German irritation. A German irritation
Yeah.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
like German ancestry where, yeah,
Yeah.
irritate.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That's what it is.
And it's almost
My
like a,
grandma too. Yeah. So I'm seeing the line,
wow, the
like
whole
just,
lineage. What wants to be offered to your ancestors? You don't, with their
yeah, let's
consent,
see.
with their approval,
Um,
be
oh, that's
offered
funny.
to.
My grandma just came as a representative of that ancestral line and
Yeah.
said the she wants coffee. So of course she's in an energy body now too, but is um just asking for an offering, a loving offering of coffee,
Yeah.
and just reminded me that Kratom's closest relative is coffee.
Oh,
That these are,
interesting.
and she said, like, so oh wow, this, it goes deep, like where she said, she's showing me that I've had a little bit of guilt because this tree isn't native to where I'm at. And I mean, we're importing it, and I know that the University of Florida is able to grow some of these trees,
Yeah.
but it's tropical. It can't grow in Kansas. And I've had a little bit of like, I'm seeing like, am I a fear, am I appropriating something that hasn't given its full blessing for me to engage with it? And
Mm.
she's saying, and Kratom herself is saying, no, you are here in communion with us, or with me, with us, with this all the time, and we are happy to work with you. And my grandma is showing me, she was a big coffee connoisseur, was always on the hunt for the best Arabica or Colombian coffee. And she's showing me how she had made similar, even though she was a German lady living in Kansas, she had made a similar agreement with the coffee plant, that they were happy, the coffee beans, the good coffee beans were happy to work with my grandma,
Yeah,
who
I'm
is also
seeing
an eminent, yeah, like,
freedom coming to you, not
yes.
just one way. It's a,
Yes, exactly. Like I was in misery and had such low quality of life during these chronic pain flares related to the interstitial cystitis diagnosis that I had those years ago. When I was in a flare, I had such poor quality of life. I was desperate, and Kratom came to me. Like I had never heard of it, and it was through a synchronistic series of events that I learned of it, as something that might give some relief. And then aloe vera came up in my research later. And so, yeah, I'm seeing, yeah, this was really cool.
maybe there's a time that you can be shown that that idea, that thought form, we can't have anything nice.
Anything nice?
Yeah, sometime there you did have something nice or something that relates to that thought form that
It is World
disproves
War
it.
II. So that
Hmm.
came up a little bit in my mind earlier. I'm seeing Depression era and World War II ancestors being
Hmm.
hungry. Um, Maybe like trying to sell things for very little to get more food. My grandfather's, my grandma's husband, um, joined the army for World War II because he thought he would have more food than he had at home.
Oh,
So I'm hearing, yeah, like he lied. He lied about his age. He wrote 18 on scraps of paper because he was still 17. Put them in his shoes, and when they asked him if he was over 18, he said yes. And this was because his father was an alcoholic and womanizer, family of 13 children in rural Kansas, and he didn't have enough food to eat. And he was sure that the army would at least give him a little bit more food and he wouldn't be as hungry. And so, like, the people that I come from are his people were Scottish and German, and they've been here since 1651 or 52 via New Amsterdam. But everybody else, all the other main ancestors are German. And I'm seeing how hard my people, these people, grandparents, great grandparents, worked and they were starving. I'm seeing like my mom's family is all German and how hard the adults were working to provide enough food for their children. And that was a time in which people weren't having a whole lot of nice things. You know, with Dust Bowl, World War One, World War Two. But now we can take it out. Now we
yeah.
can do nice things. But I'm seeing how it created this
It's almost
like
like
a
a
ribbon, like a
marker.
ticker.
Yeah.
Yes, a
Yeah.
ticker tape. I'm seeing like a ticker tape, a ribbon with, you know, yeah. So we're just gonna go ahead and take that out of my consciousness and my dad, and other living. I can see I've passed it down. This was an ancestral thought form passed down to a couple of my kids. I'm gonna offer the removal of that. My oldest son in particular is very similar to me in thought, word and deed, I would say, and I
It's
can
a
see.
more accurate thought form. I'm here like we get what we need, or what, yeah,
Yes, we get what we
we
need.
get what we need.
We are able to put forth the effort to help create what we need
We
as well.
create what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
replacing with that. I'm just kind of very lovingly releasing this because this is also protective. So one thing that the Akasha is asking me to mention about thought forms like this is that they typically do begin as protection. And if we are a child who would like to have something nice, but we never get anything nice, it is easier to remind ourselves we can't have anything nice so we don't get our hopes up and wind up getting harmed when we're upset we didn't get anything nice. And that's a small example, a very minimal example, but many thought forms are created as protective mechanisms and they serve a purpose for a while. And that's why when we remove them and thank them in love, and then we help to refill or recreate new neural pathways, fill in the ones that were not as effective anymore. And we thank that energy. This is kind of bringing up the idea of parts work.
Yeah.
We're like thinking about the inner protector, the inner child, inner protector parts who are trying to run a program of don't get your hopes up or be, I'm hearing one for a lot of people that will be touched by energetically by our talk today, is be quiet so you don't get in trouble. So there's a big, and this is not just women. There are a lot of women who have throat blockages, but
Mhm.
lots of men right now that I have seen in my energy work practice lately who are also in misaligned connections or had very difficult families in the beginning, in which they were the temperature taker and they would be quiet. There are so many people right now who are being offered the release of the you have to be quiet, what you think doesn't matter, you just have to be quiet and keep them happy. That thought form is asking whoever is present with that energy right now to release it in love and thank that child part or that young adult part who created that for you and build something new, create a new thought pattern. I am worthy of appropriately communicating in authenticity or whatever it may be. So that's coming up. That's coming up to mention as well.
I get the sense that those protector parts, now they can do something else. They don't have to worry
Yes.
about that. What do you see
Yeah.
them doing now? So they don't have to worry.
Frequently I will see, we will kind of ask the inner protector that was created in childhood to go on or participate in our own journey of inner work. And what the goal is to bring the kind of distorted or lower aspect of this inner protector into its own process of alchemy, of coming into more consciousness, and then it becomes a divine protector. So it is invited into integration and into the process of whatever the inner work is for each individual. So I guess we invite that. And we also invite anyone who may watch our video or connect with our social media to reach out to either of us to explore those topics as well.
That seems like there's been a lot of, let's say, I'd call it cord cutting, but topics around divorce, topics about separation, talks about boundaries with people.
Yes, I really felt like the blood moon eclipse was that Sunday. I know we didn't see it here, but the energy was very present. I'm not somebody who does a whole lot of astrological focus, but that felt like a potent threshold. And I had messages that intuitive messages come in that we had gone through a portal together as a whole humanity, and those who are in misaligned connections that no longer exist within kind of like frequency bandwidth of one another, whether this be a primary relationship, maybe a workplace employer relationship where you're needing to begin looking for something that is more in alignment with your values, friendships. The message I got was, until we decide, each individual takes action on that process, things are going to get really uncomfortable, because we went through the portal, like we were at a choice point, and collectively we did go through the portal together in agreement that yes, we are seeking deeper and greater authentic connection and alignment for ourselves and our realities, both individually and as an interconnected whole. And so what I was shown is that eclipse actually was a portal door that we went through together, and now people are going to need to feel deeply into what the correct action, or sometimes there's not a correct action, sometimes there's harm reduction of these two choices that are really tough. Which one honors me and the other, or me and that system the most? And that's kind of what was coming up about that, is that that's part of our 9-year, we were talking about it being a difficult year. That's part of the, this is part of the difficulties that this is the fire. This is like the alchemical. We're in the fire right now, even if it feels like we're numb, stuck, and stagnant, which I've had a fair number of people tell me. And a lot of us are in a little bit of a hibernation or quieter, like where we're resting more and we're hungry. That's all valid, and you can be resting and also be in the alchemical fire of transformation and
being digested.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
That's a little bit what it feels like.
Yes, exactly.
Well, any advice from higher powers, from guides, from your soul on how to deal with those separation energies?
To really focus on releasing in grace, peace, and love, and letting go of the minutia and the toxicity of the dynamic. So again, transcendence is the word that they're offering. Even though you have valid hurts or valid anger, choose to transcend that and embody more of your fullness, your wholeness, the call in more of your soul aspects to live out this experience with you, and transcend the desire to get more I told you so's in. I can feel a lot of wanting to, like, to have the last word or to say something snarky. That is not a helpful energy for the really, really deep transformation most of us are in. And it functions as a distraction, even if it's fair for you to be mad. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, like our
The
energy is.
topic of this time frame. Thank you.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about collective information. I'm curious if there's anything else that wants to come through for Sarah. What else wants to come through for this session?
There's going to be more Atlantean activation attunements, codes, and information that can be translated into words soon. There's been a lot. Sometimes they're just saying I can share. I get tired of talking about it sometimes because I have seen that not everybody is able to receive it. And there are also lots of misunderstandings. So many people think that Atlantis was one thing or one time. There was several Atlantises, and I've got a lot of codes to one in particular and can tap into other versions as well. But there will be a request that I begin speaking more about that publicly in late November or early December.
What's important about flooding?
Oh, what's important about flooding? I'm hearing that we need to understand that the earth will have her way, and there has been much forbearing happening. And it's not a desire to hurt humanity or harm systems of humanity, but an actual, this is part of the Earth's changes of Gaia, Tara, Earth, Heart, her own physical and energetic transformation. Some of the cataclysms, like cataclysmic weather and stuff that we're seeing, people want to blame on weather modification. And there might be some opportunistic stuff. We know there's cloud seeding patterns, but I'm seeing like she has held as long as she can. And there's going to be pop-offs where this water can't be held anymore, or this lava. I am seeing, we talked about lava earlier. I'm seeing that we may see a volcano go in the next couple of years. There will be warning. But like these are, the earth is a real living being and body, no matter who wants to try to argue that. She like, yeah, flooding. Yeah. Was there a specific region or anything, just flooding in general, that you
No,
wanted?
just the idea, maybe that there's cycles or that there's.
Yeah,
I mean,
cycles.
we've just hit the 25-year anniversary of Katrina as we're filming this.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm hearing, that this is very much and they want to also mention an opportunity to bring, like I mentioned, a little bit of awareness to this idea that when we spend too much time yelling about chemtrails online or fussing about their cloud seeding apparatus that's in Alaska or whatever it is, we reinforce these and strengthen those narratives and actually co-render them into reality stronger, and are not acknowledging some of the very real experiences that the earth as our mother is having as a being who is not the same form as we are right now, but the way I've connected with her, she can take form as a woman, as a dragon, as an energy body, as many different types of beings, and is a very real individual and collective.
Yeah, when I spoke to one of my clients that lived the life as the atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere, and brought up information about, weather modification, she said basically the same thing.
Yeah, like they may be opportunistic, they try their
Yeah.
little, but Earth is a powerful force and she is forbearing. There's been so much forbearance for humanity and trying to bring us in. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
sometimes I
every
see her
time
like just holding a toddler, just screaming, throwing
yes,
a fit, you know?
every time I feel into it, that's the answer I get. Is like, yeah, there might be little bits here and there, but it's nothing compared to
Even
like the
compared to
power of,
karma or
yeah. Um,
agency or
Speaking of a toddler throwing a fit, I want to share my friend Carmen, that I have a few videos up with or more to put up, shared the funniest meme I saw. And when you said Earth is like holding humanity's like a toddler screaming, throwing a fit, Carmen posted a picture of a child, a 1.5, 2-year-old child laying on the ground screaming, throwing a fit, and the parent had captioned it, "My child throwing a fit at AutoZone because I won't buy him an alternator." And it was the funniest thing
so
I've seen
perfect.
online in
Yes.
a long time. And it's
Uh,
exactly this.
yeah,
Humanity
that's
is
us.
throwing a fit. We are
Yes.
the toddlers throwing a fit collectively because we think we
Because we're
need a new
here, or yeah, because we want our alternator.
we want a new alternator. We
We
don't
think we
even have
want
keys.
something. Yes.
We're not even out of diapers yet, okay, guys?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not able to drive a car. So that's what
That's
apparently I
perfect.
saw that yesterday in preparation for that to for this, so I can bring that here.
Yeah, humanity right now.
Humanity right
Yeah.
now is a toddler throwing a fit at the Earth Mother and at God, because we want a new alternator. Yet we don't even have keys to the
We
car, nor
don't.
can we even go potty by ourselves yet.
Yeah.
We're not even in 7th grade, guys. Like, when we look at this. Now, can we get there? Yes. And some of us are. Some of us are in 6th grade or
Yeah.
8th
Oh,
grade.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some of us are, but as I'm looking as a whole, unfortunately, we're not yet to pre-K.
Well,
We're not
sometimes
to
I'll give
pre-K
that
yet as a whole.
that analogy where it's like people want to be connected or they want more, they're constantly
Yes.
coming to us to connect or to get the information. And, it's like I see it as somebody sitting at a table with a full cup of water yelling at their waitress for not
For
refilling their
their
cup.
water.
You get
Yes.
what you're getting and be here now. And then as you are there drinking the water, you'll get
Water.
the refill. And wait a few
Yes.
years, you might be able to buy yourself an alternator.
Exactly.
When you need one, you'll get one.
Exactly. Gosh, this feels like a beautiful spot to end the session unless there's any other
Yeah,
questions. What do you
feels good
think?
to me. Yeah, I don't have anything else that's not super, super personal. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm ready to sit up.
All right, I'll stop the recording. So we've got
Yeah, we can talk a few.